Open world games are getting bigger and bigger every single year. Chances are you've played quite a few throughout your years in gaming. Let me know what your top 3 open world games are. But if you're a fan of this genre, guess what? You're in for a solid few years coming up because there are some absolutely amazing open world games that are in the works, especially for Xbox players. Welcome to the page, everybody. Chaos. Yes, we are giving Xbox players love today, not PS5. That's right. Today, we're going to look at 15 upcoming open world games coming to Xbox consoles in the near future. So you let me know which of these you're most excited for. Drop a like, and let's start off with one that I've been waiting a long time for, and I've actually bashed a little bit because I've been waiting so long, and I'm getting frustrated. At number 15, Skull and Bones. Open world pirate game? Sounds awesome. Been in development at Ubisoft Singapore for over a decade now. Now, it started out as an expansion for Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which makes sense, but it's gotten so big in scope, it's become its own project, and it's supposed to be a spiritual successor. You customize your pirate ship, you set out on the Indian Ocean, engaging enemy ships, looting them for all they're worth as you upgrade your vessel, become the most feared crew on the 7 seas. Now, the game has been delayed countless times. Recently pushed back to the ever-vague release window of 2023-2024. But if I'm being honest, I'm okay waiting if I have to. It's a gigantic and ambitious project, so I want Ubisoft to make sure that they actually get it right before they put it in our hands. Next up, Dune Awakening. Did you know there's an open-world Dune game in development? Now, news has been scarce since its announcement in late 2022, but I'm actually excited about this one. Open world survival game set in the Dune universe, and it's being done by Funcom, which is the team behind the very underrated Conan Exiles, which has a huge community now. We'll likely hear about this game over the spring at one of the major gaming conferences, so if you're a fan of the Dune universe, which you should be, keep your eyes open, because this upcoming survival game, it's probably going to be pretty good. The Dune universe is a perfect fit for an open world survival game. At number 13, you've heard of this one, Diablo 4. It's been over a decade since the last Diablo game, and naturally expectations are pretty high after Diablo 3 was such a roaring success. The acclaimed action RPG is making its transition to an open-world gameplay format. The story is going to be scaled down a bit from the last entry to create a more grounded tone. Blizzard has also described adjustments being made to the class system and some new attributes that are going to add to a ton of extra depth and layers to the classic Diablo formula. Now, Blizzard needs a win. We know. All of us know this. Diablo 4 is worth the wait, and hopefully it lives up to the insanely high standards of this series. The game is currently set to launch on the PC and Xbox on June 6th. At number 12, Far Cry 7. Now, Far Cry 7 hasn't been formally announced, but a number of industry insiders have confirmed it's in the works. Given how much of a hole Ubisoft has been in the last few years, they're probably pretty eager to get it out to the public. Far Cry 6, solid game, but it was held back by needing to be up and running on the Xbox One and the PS4. Far Cry 7, it will be built from the ground up on current-gen gaming hardware no matter what setting the team decides to go with. I am ready. I am ready for a true next-gen Far Cry game. It's at least going to look amazing. I'm guessing we'll probably get a formal announcement for this game later this year, and then likely a release sometime in 2024. At number 11, Redfall. Now, opinions on this game's early footage have been mixed, but I'm personally pretty stoked to give it a try. Open world FPS, developed by Arcane Studios, and you get to face off against a giant horde of not zombies, but vampires. One of several characters, each with their own unique equipment abilities. Some people have criticized the gameplay. It looks too simple and too derivative, and maybe that's true. But the setting is unique. The gunplay looks really good, so I don't mind the gameplay being on the simple side. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Redfall is set to launch on the Xbox and the PC on May 2nd. And yes, it will be on Game Pass on day 1. At number 10, Choo Choo Charles. The game launched on PC in late 2022, quickly got a ton of attention for the premise and the ridiculous addicting gameplay. Choo Choo Charles, in case you don't know, is an open-world survival horror game where you navigate an island in a train while you hunt for upgrades and supplies, all while you're trying to outrun and fend off this giant train monster with spy legs and a creepy smile that constantly chases you down. It sounds ridiculous, but it was absolutely terrifying the first time you played it, and there's a console port coming later this year. If you're a fan of unconventional, and I stress that word, horror games, or you just want to experience the fear of being hunted by a giant spider train, well, there you go. At number 9, Ark 2. Yep. Now, Ark Survival Evolved is arguably the game that made the survival genre mainstream, and with the highly funded and publicized sequel in development, There's no better time to get in with the family. Open world survival game. You fight you're not just fighting hostile survivors and elements, but of course, hungry dinosaurs. Ark 2 has no solid release date of the recording of this video, but Microsoft insists it will be out before the end of this year. So hopefully we get a new trailer or gameplay soon, because if we don't, it's probably going to fall into that dreaded delay. At number 8, Fallout 4, the next-gen version. Now, Fallout 4 launched in 2015, 8 years ago, and it received criticism. It did, for its lack of RPG elements, the reliance on combat sections, but it has since grown with the community, and it's actually now seen as one of the better Bethesda games of the last decade. It's funny how that works. Granted, Bethesda hasn't released many games over the last decade, but I digress. Fallout 4 is getting a hefty 9th generation patch later this year that will contain a ton of performance upgrades, and it's likely going to include some quality of life adjustments for the big re-release. Fans of Fallout are in for a treat. I mean, as Bethesda attempts to hold us over until Fallout 5, which is rumored to start development once Elder Scrolls 6 goes gold. But then again, that's going to be a long time. At number 7, Dead Island 2. Yes, it's actually coming this year. It's been in development for over a decade. It's been delayed countless times, bounced from studio to studio, but it's finally coming out in a few months, and at this point, I have no idea what kind of quality to expect. On one hand, it may end up being the next Duke Nukem Forever. On the other hand, it may end up being a legitimately awesome open-world zombie game. It's set in several Southern California cities after the zombie apocalypse. It's going to feature a pretty comedic tone compared to most zombie games, which I think is a solid choice for the kind of game it wants to be. Dead Island 2 is set to launch on April 21st on PC and Xbox, so it won't be much longer until we get to see if it was worth the wait. I hope it's good. At number 6, The Outer Worlds 2. Now, the first Outer Worlds game was awesome, basically serving as an update to the Fallout New Vegas formula and storytelling style. Some felt it was a little outdated in its gameplay, but personally, I thought that was the whole point. The late 2000s were this unique time for first-person RPGs, and The Outer Worlds is this awesome callback to a time with decent number of modernizations to keep it interesting. The sequel was announced in 2021, so hopefully it's coming soon, because the first game was good. It really was. There were so many directions Obsidian could actually take the story and the world in it. Now we get into the top 5. Starfield. The hype is growing by the week, especially after the brand new trailer that confirmed the game is coming out this September. Galaxy-sized RPG being described as Skyrim in space, and Bethesda's big comeback after, let's be real, a few stinkers. This first-person shooter will feature a ton of planets to explore, a whole bunch of factions to discover, and plenty of stories for you to get involved with along the way. The game has so much riding on it. If Bethesda wants to be taken seriously as an RPG developer in the modern times, this game has to be awesome. Do I think it will be awesome? I don't know. I'm hoping it will. I don't know. I don't. At number 4, Avowed. Raise your hand if you forgot about this game. Dark fantasy RPG, in development at Obsidian Entertainment, same studio that made The Outer Worlds and Fallout New Vegas. The game takes place in the Pillars of Eternity universe, and it was being built on the Unreal Engine 5. This first-person RPG will feature a lot of spells for you to learn, utilized during combat, while set in the Pillars of Eternity universe, which I think it's pretty cool. It's going to feature a completely new story, brand new cast of characters for you to meet and interact with. It's unclear where exactly the game or when it's coming out, but it was revealed almost 3 years ago. It's overdue. We need some official updates, perhaps at the Xbox Showcase. At number 3, Fable. As a longtime fan of this IP, I'm excited for the game. Granted, the number of behind-the-scenes reports coming out make me very nervous because apparently there's been a lot of drama over at the studio, but as long as it's not rushed out the door and the team respects the franchise, I think it could be a worthy addition. Fantasy RPG, it's always been slightly controversial due to the overexcited marketing of the original games, but it's the perfect choice for a next-gen reboot, and I'm excited to see more of it. Hopefully, we'll get some information about it at the Xbox Showcase later this year, but as of right now, there's no release window attached to this project. It will probably be a while before we get any official intel. Speaking of being a while, at number 2, The Elder Scrolls 6. We all know, Skyrim's one of the best-selling games of all time. Many people consider it to be the quintessential Bethesda RPG. Not necessarily the best, but definitely the most important to their company's history. The long-awaited follow-up was announced way back in June 18th, and since then we've heard nothing. Not a peep, nada. Bethesda has offered a few cryptic hints about the setting and the time period, but the general consensus right now is that Elder Scrolls 6 won't enter full production until Starfield is out. But now that we have a solid release date for Starfield, the days of Elder Scrolls 6 are getting closer and closer. Now, I don't think we're going to get any official footage or news on this game until mid-2024 at the absolute earliest. But I am stoked to see what Bethesda is cooking up for their next big fantasy game. I think they've learned a lot since Skyrim, and assuming they actually ditch their outdated engine and start something fresh, ES6 could be the best fantasy RPG of all time. We will see. And at number 1 today, it's a no-brainer. Grand Theft Auto 6. Rockstar Games are seemingly planning on making 2024 their year. Recent leaks, which we talked about on this channel, suggest the company is currently targeting a winter 2024 release window, and that the higher-ups at the company are no longer willing to push the game back any further. GTA 6 will be the first entry in the series in over a decade, and the longer we wait, the more hype people get. Last year, we had the giant leak that revealed a ton of awesome information about it. The setting, the gameplay additions, the insane level of detail going into the new map. GTA 6 is going to be one of the most advanced and expansive open world games ever made, and since GTA 5 has sold over 100 million copies, I'm expecting the sequel to sell like crazy. It's rumored that Rockstar is officially going to announce GTA 6 within the next few months, so get ready for the internet to completely break down when that happens, because the game will be an all-timer. And there you have it. Those are upcoming Xbox games that you probably need to put on your radar if you haven't. If you know of one we didn't mention, let me know. I'll see you soon.